Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in to this week's episode of the Don't Tell Mama Sports Podcast. We're coming to you here live in Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Matt Kobold, back here with me again, the back-to-back week of the year, Sam Belkis. Sam, I hear we got a big weekend coming up here.
You might say that. Some people might say that. A couple weeks ago, turned the big 3-0, 30 years. 30
Oh,
years.
couple weeks ago. Oh, I apologize. I didn't know I missed it. Sorry, bro.
Well, we were out of town for the actual day, so we're celebrating it this upcoming weekend. So totally fine if people think that this weekend is my birthday, because that's when it's actually being celebrated. So no worries.
Heck yeah, your girlfriend Roxanne, she tried to plan a little surprise birthday party, texted a bunch of people a good month ago, maybe
Yeah.
5-6 weeks. But the cat was let out of the bag this week, Sam. What happened there?
I just think planning it that much in advance, trying to coordinate everything, especially with adults who have their own schedules, it's hard to do. So plus she needs help, making sure the house is ready before everybody comes over. So I was on to it. But I don't care if it's a surprise or not, just hanging out with some good people, close friends, celebrating 30 years. That's what more could you ask for?
Heck yeah, man. Looking forward to come over on Saturday, drinking a few, watching some football. Who knows what we're gonna get into, man. It's gonna be a good one.
Good time. It'll be a good time.
Happy 30th to you.
Thank you, sir.
But here, this week on the Don't Tell Mama Sports Podcast, we're obviously going to do two regular segments that we've been doing every week at the end. We're going to make our game picks for the NFL Week 4 slate, and then finish up with our Week 4 Extra Juicy Dawgz. But
Extra
first,
juicy.
they're so juicy, we're drooling over them this week.
They're very juicy.
But first, we're going to start in college football because ESPN's College Game Day was in South Bend, Indiana this past week for a top 10 showdown between Notre Dame and the Buckeyes of Ohio State. Sam, as you know, I was lucky enough to be in attendance for back-to-back game days. Last week being in Boulder, this week being in South Bend, Indiana. Very lucky there. But this time, I went with my dad because my dad lives in Indiana. He's actually been an usher for Notre Dame for 26 years. 26 years my dad's been at Notre Dame. It's freaking awesome.
Been working for the Irish for a long time.
That's a few years. But it was definitely more packed in South Bend for this game day than it was compared to the previous week in Boulder. Way more people. I don't know if you saw it on ESPN, but the sea of people when they took the cameras out to the field. Oh my goodness. The show started at 9 a.m., Sam, Eastern time. The game didn't kick off till 7:30. Oh my goodness, we had a long day out there. I didn't know the Heisman House actually traveled. That's pretty cool. That was there on campus. But we got into the stadium a little after 3:30, so about 4 hours before kickoff. We saw the calm before the storm. It was real eerie in that stadium. It had a feeling in there that it could be something special that night.
Yeah.
Irish quarterback Sam Hartman, he was ready to go. Sam, do you know anything about Sam Hartman?
I might have heard a few things.
You better familiarize yourself with him. He's going to be playing on Sundays. Transfer from Wake, 6th year. The stadium, super electric in there, Sam. Season ticket holders were telling me that it was probably the loudest they've ever heard it when they've been there.
That's saying something. That's saying something.
This game, it was a true smash mouth game as Ohio State kicked a field goal with 26 seconds remaining before halftime to make the score 3-0. Okay, there was no score in that first half. Notre Dame scored their first points late in the third on a 1-yard run to make it 10-7.
Okay, go! Get in there! Push it!
Then Sam Hartman found freshman Rico Flores for a 2-yard touchdown to give the Irish a 14-10 lead with just over 8 minutes remaining. Now, we all knew that was too much time, 8 minutes, too much time on the clock. We all knew that.
Yeah.
Ohio State, they came down, had a nice drive, but ended up turning the ball over on downs. Went for it on fourth down, didn't make it. We got the ball back. We were feeling like a win. We were getting ready. We were getting ready for the storming of the field. But damn it, Notre Dame took the ball. They looked scared on their next possession, quickly punting it back. I think 5 plays. The Buckeyes get the ball back with 1:26 remaining. 1:26. We just got to get a stop, Sam. But damn it, we all know they marched down the field. They got to the goal line after a 21-yard reception from Emeka Egbuka, who had 7 catches for 96 yards. Solid day for him.
Yeah.
Sam, your boy, Marvin Harrison, who you're drooling over, you want to come to Indianapolis.
Everybody is.
He got a little banged up in this one. Got a little banged up.
Yep.
He had 2 end zone targets late, but didn't convert on either of those. He finished with 3 catches for 32 yards. A little disappointing from Marvin Harrison Saturday. Now, you don't see many buzzer beaters like you do in basketball that you do in football. But with 1 second left, damn it, Travion Henderson fell into the end zone, and the Buckeyes prevailed. Very, very sad. Sam, it was definitely a heartbreaking loss there in South Bend, but overall special day to remember with my dad. It was a great time. Like I said, the show started at 9 a.m. We didn't get home till after midnight. I mean, that's a solid 15-hour day on campus. We'll never forget it. It was a freaking blast. What do you think about that game?
As far as experiences go, you can't beat it. Would it have been more magical, more memorable if Notre Dame would have sealed the deal with the win? Of course. But, I mean, you got College Game Day, the Pat McAfee show. Vince freaking Vaughn is there. Like, I saw videos. I was tuning in. It's crazy. And as far as it being more packed and more rowdy than Colorado, I imagine Notre Dame's had a few more College Game Day turnouts than Colorado has in their history, especially their more recent history. But yeah, it just looked incredible. Marvin Harrison Jr., didn't he leave with an injury midway through the game?
I don't know how long he was out, but he definitely was down on the field, had to be attended to. But he did come back. He did come back. If he missed time, he definitely came back. Because he was in on that last drive with those end zone targets.
I think for the average fan, a game like that, you might hear the word boring tossed around, low scoring, but when you're an actual fan of one of the teams, you don't mind a defensive game. It's just as exciting for you because you know all those players. So, and then, like you said, to end like it did with the last second heartbreaker, well, I mean, what more could you ask for? Heck of a game for College Game Day.
Heck of a game, tough loss. Notre Dame only dropped 2 spots in the AP poll. But if you're looking to go to College Game Day next week, it's going to be in Durham, North Carolina, for the Duke Blue Devils when they host the Irish. The Irish are on game day back-to-back week, fellas.
Are you going to be there? You're 2 for 2. You're going to make it 3 for 3?
I wish I could. Way over there on the East Coast, not going to make it. Not going to make it. I'll be at your house. I'll be at your house.
Which one was better, Colorado or Notre Dame?
Notre Dame, definitely. Just having that experience with my dad. Boulder was cool. Boulder's beautiful. And it was Also, it was a great game, double overtime thriller, beating the Rams. But this top 10 matchup, Ohio State, Notre Dame, two big brands. Oh, it was juicy. It was electric. Moving on along this week on the Don't Tell Mama Sports podcast, we just were talking a little bit about the Buffaloes of Colorado. And damn it, we got to talk a little bit about prime time right now. Coach Prime Time.
Coach Prime.
Because, Sam, I don't know if you watched, but they took an ass beating in Eugene, Oregon. Final score, 42-6. Sam, this game was 35-0 at halftime. 35-0 at halftime. It would have been a 42-0 blow if not for Colorado's lone score with just under 3 minutes remaining in the game. They were getting goosed to under 3 minutes to go. This was their first game without two-way star Travis Hunter, who's been sidelined with that lacerated liver. Sam, what do you think about this W for the Ducks?
Yeah, I think the carriage turned back into a pumpkin for Colorado. They're still going to win some games. I mean, they've already more than doubled their wins from last year.
Triple
now, yeah. But I think for those people that were lying in wait to say "I told you so" and say that Colorado is not all that, they got their wish, as they just got absolutely demolished by a big time program that's had success for a long time. I actually lived in Eugene back in 2021, and I will just say I went to a couple of games there. It's so much fun. To get there, you have to cross this bridge that goes across the river. Everybody's decked out in green and yellow. Beautiful stadium, so it's a lot of fun. Yeah, tough loss for Colorado. I did enjoy some of the comments from the Oregon's coach, where he was saying, "We're not playing for clicks; we're playing for wins." And you talk about a quarterback that you might be seeing on Sunday. What are your thoughts on Bo Nix?
Bo Nix has been around for a little while, starting his career at Auburn, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Look good, look solid. I think he could definitely play on Sundays. Solid quarterback for a top 10 team. In this game, Oregon had 7 sacks on Shedeur Sanders. That's a huge point of emphasis right now for the Buffaloes, is that offensive line giving up way too many sacks. Next week, they're going to host undefeated and 8th-ranked USC. The Trojans come to Boulder. Sam, who you got in that game?
After watching last week, I'm going to have to say USC. Not only is it hard to bounce back from a loss like that, I think we've maybe seen the best of Colorado in that victory against TCU. The team will obviously grow, but not having a star in Travis Hunter, it definitely hurts you. And you were mentioning the offensive line. Look, Matt, this is a team that's built from the outside in. Their strength is at quarterback, the skill position, some of their guys on the perimeter. They're very weak on offensive and defensive line, and Coach Prime will be the first one to tell you that. But I think his whole argument is, with the clicks and the views and the social media, getting kids excited about wanting to be there and play for that program. So it may not be this year or next year, but some big boys coming out of high school is going to see what they're doing over there and how exciting it is, and they will improve that offensive and defensive line. I don't think it's their year this year, but maybe in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think USC could maybe spank him too. Travis Hunter says he wants to play, but that ain't gonna happen.
Nah.
It's gonna be an interesting season for Coach Prime and the Buffaloes, and I'll be watching.
Oh, I'll be watching too.
Moving along this week on the Don't Tell Mama Sports podcast, we got Sam Belkis stepping in for us here in Denver, Colorado. But we got to talk about the ass beating the Broncos of Denver took on Sunday. 2 ass beatings in 1 week. First the Buffaloes getting their ass beat, now the Broncos. I don't know what's going on with football here in the state of Colorado, but the Miami Dolphins whipped that ass. they whipped that ass 70-20. 70-20, okay? Over the Broncos. Sam, got a trivia time for you right now.
Okay.
Can you tell me anything about most points scored in a game. Can you tell me how many points it was? Can you tell me a year? Can you tell me the team? Most points scored in an NFL game.
I believe it's been a really long time since a score like this has happened. I want to say the 1960s, maybe like 1969. I don't know the team, but I think they were in the mid 70s, low to mid 70s. I think people were talking about the Dolphins could have easily done it, but Mike McDaniels decided to have some mercy. Although I don't know what mercy they're talking about because he put up 70 points. But yeah, I want to say like back in the 60s, but I don't know the team.
Pretty close there, Sam. We've seen 4 teams actually hit 70 points in a game, but the record is by the Washington Redskins in 1966. They scored 72. They scored 72 in a game.
It's a lot of points.
In this Miami-Denver game, many of the starters for the Dolphins were pulled early in the fourth quarter. Tua Tagovailoa completed each of his first 17 pass attempts, finishing with 309 passing yards and 4 scores. Devon Achane. Now, it's been pronounced A-Chain for a while, the rookie running back for the Dolphins, but I guess he came out after the game, says it's pronounced A-Chan. Devon Achane, rookie running back for the Dolphins, had 203 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He had 11.3 yards per rush. He also caught 4 balls for 30 yards and 2 more touchdowns. Oh, my goodness. This guy had 51.3 fantasy points. Raheem Mostert, a guy that's on your team, Sam, 82 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. He also had 7 catches for 60 yards and another touchdown, 45.2 fantasy points. These 2 running backs each had 4 touchdowns, Sam. Holy shit. Give me your thoughts on those running backs and this final score of 70-20 of the ass beating of the Denver Broncos.
The funniest thing is that Devon Achane had 50 points on the waiver wire.
You know who dropped him?
There's going to be who?
In our league, you know who dropped him?
Who?
Kelly.
Oh, man, she's got to be kicking herself because she doesn't have any running backs. I'm sure there are people out there that had him rostered on their bench or be like, oh, I had him. I knew he was going to be great.
You didn't start him. You didn't start him.
Yeah, you didn't start him. I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for words. 4 touchdowns from 2 different running backs. It's insane. I'm super glad to have drafted Mostert and have him on my fantasy team. I did start him at the flex position. He put up somewhere in the ballpark of 41, 42 points for me. Unfortunately, it was a poor showing from the rest of my team as I did lose a fairly close game. I was like up near 120 points, but my opponent this week had a good game. So fortunately, it wasn't enough. But yeah, I confidently started him because he's been looking good the first 2 weeks as well. And Miami's going to be up on teams, so they're going to be running the ball to run the clock down in second halves of games. I don't know if there's something in the water in Colorado, but 2 historic ass beatings like that, it's not good, especially after you just had the Denver Nuggets bringing home the championship for the state. I guarantee you Devon Achane is the number 1 targeted player on the waiver wire this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw him go in our league last night. Definitely top priority. He's got juice, man. I think he had like a 67-yard run. He's got juice. He could be a league winner if this continues. If Miami continues this spark that they have. You know, Jeff Wilson, let's not forget a name like Jeff Wilson Jr. He's on the pup. He's got 1 more game to serve. Now, we don't know if he's going to be ready to go week 5. We don't know. But adding him into the mix, you don't like a 3-headed timeshare. You don't like it. Raheem Mostert has a healthy injury list, has a long injury list. So I don't see him playing all 17. But damn it, I wish I had a little piece of this Miami backfield because that's juicy.
Oh yeah. It's just impressive. And if I was Jeff Wilson or Ahmed, I'd be worried seeing the rookie go off like that.
Have to be. And then just to finish here, talking about the Broncos right here in Denver, Colorado. This is the first time that Russell 2 poops a week Wilson has started 0-3 in his career. What do you think about that, Sam?
It's funny because really the offense isn't the issue. 20 points typically is not going to do it in today's NFL. I'll give you that. But I think if you look at the numbers and the statistics, the Broncos offense has been playing pretty well. Russ has been playing pretty well. It's the defense, which is surprising under Sean Payton. All his years in New Orleans, he had some really good defensive teams. Um, I don't know if it might take him a couple weeks to look around and find that dignity somewhere lying on the ground. I don't know how you come back from a game like that.
Sean Payton, I mean, he was really bumping his gums when he came over to Denver, calling people out. And you better look in the mirror, Sean. You're 0-3, buddy.
Yep. In a tough division, in a very tough division.
Moving along this week on the Don't Tell Mama Sports Podcast, we got our Week 4 game picks in the NFL, Sam.
Let's go.
This was tough when I was looking at these games. There's a lot of toss-ups. I think we're going to have some discrepancies here more than usual. I feel like whoever I have on here, we usually pick most of the games the same. But today, a lot of toss-ups here in Week 4. And it's only Wednesday. You know, practice reports, injury reports are still going to come out. But this is how we're feeling right now on the 27th, Wednesday for Week 4. And let's start right here on Thursday night, tomorrow night. On Prime Video, Sam, we got a divisional matchup in the NFC North. We got the Lions going to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. Both teams are 2-1. This game, already talked about it. It's a toss-up. Who you got here?
This is a game that I went back and forth on quite a bit. I got to go with the Lions. I think there's such a home field advantage for the Packers at Lambeau Field. But it's still summer going into fall. It's not gotten cold yet, which I feel like is a huge advantage for teams like Buffalo and the Packers. But I don't know. There's something about the Lions. I know they had that heartbreaker of a loss to Seattle, but they handled the Falcons pretty well. There's a lot of things to like. They're semi-healthy comparatively. And I just got to see more out of Jordan Love. I don't know that he's quite the guy. He's looked good, but got to go with the Lions here.
Yeah, speaking of Jordan Love, he has looked damn good. He is quarterback 4 in fantasy, according to ESPN, which is pretty wild.
I know that.
It's pretty wild. But this is a toss-up game, divisional matchup. I like your point about it not being too cold yet in Wisconsin. I got the Lions on the road. I like what the Packers did last week, coming back from a 17-0 deficit to the Saints. I like that perseverance, that resiliency. But I think the Lions have more talent. We still don't know about Aaron Jones. We don't know about Christian Watson. Without knowing those guys, I'm going Lions.
I think that's a fair point. It's going to be a good game. Might be one of the games of the week.
Definitely. Another good game here. We got a London matchup, Sam. The first game over the pond for this season.
Across the pond.
This one's going to be at 7:30 here in Colorado, so check your local listings. But we got the Falcons at 2-1 taking on the Jaguars in their home away from home. They're sitting at 1-2. This game's also a toss-up. What's your thoughts here?
Another toss-up. The Falcons are playing better. You got to say that this is a home field advantage for the Jaguars and their owner. And aren't they playing back-to-back games? Like they're staying in London to play another one the following week, correct?
Keep going, and I'll confirm that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already confirmed against the Bills.
Yeah. So probably be more of an advantage for that second one, but Jacksonville at this point, they've got it down to a science. They're over there in London once a year. I don't like this pick, but I got to go with the Jaguars. I think they're embarrassed after that divisional loss at home to the Texans. They've had moments in games. You know, they kept it close with the Chiefs. But yeah, Doug Peterson's a good coach. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. They got plenty of weapons. And I think if they can get up early, then the Falcons have to change their game script where they're not running the ball as much. I know they're going to run the ball regardless, but if a team's up on you by a couple of touchdowns, you got to throw the ball. So I like the Jaguars to come out fast, get up, and then just kind of play keep away. And the Falcons are going to be playing from behind. So I got the Jaguars in this one.
Definitely home away from home for the Jaguars here. Like you said, they got their ass beat by 20 last week at home to Houston. Okay, that's a red flag. That's a red flag for me right there, Sam. But Atlanta, like you said, they go there every year. Jaguars go there at least once a year. Atlanta, they're going to go over there. They're going to be sightseeing. They're going to have distractions. People are going to be hitting them up for tickets. They're going to be wanting to go see what's going on in London. I got the Jags here. I got the Jags winning, going back to 2-2. But that's a scary team right now. That's a big red flag last week.
Yeah.
Moving into our Sunday main slate, the morning games. After that London game finishes, we got the 1-2 Cincinnati Bengals going to Nashville, Tennessee to take on the also 1-2 Tennessee Titans. This is a tight one. I'm repping the Titans back here, so I'll start us off here on this one, Sam. Derrick Henry, he's been outsnapped by the backup rookie running back Tyjae Spears. 2 out of 3 games, he's been outsnapped by the backup. I think this is more of his game philosophy for Derrick Henry to hand it off to him because Joe Burrow's been banged up. I've been talking about Joe Burrow for weeks. My queef of the year in that division. T. Higgins, I don't know what he's doing with his inconsistency. He can't seem to catch a ball. I'm going Titans at home. Titans look good at home against the Chargers 2 weeks ago. I'm going to say they get this one in a tight one, something like 17-16. Just a ugly game. We handed off to King Henry a good 20 times. He gets 2 touchdowns, and Tannehill probably throws 2 picks, but it works out.
Okay. For me, of course, I got the Bengals. There's no way I can go with those stinky Titans. The story of the AFC South for me this year has been the surprise of the Texans and the Colts playing somewhat decently, and the Jags and the Titans not looking so good. For me, there's something going on with the Titans, with Derrick Henry not getting his usual amount of snaps. I just don't know why you would do that.
He's resting a toe injury. He's resting a toe injury. I don't know how much that has to do with it, but go ahead.
I feel like if you take away Henry, whether you're the ones doing that because of good defense or he's not 100%, or the Titans are throwing the ball more, they're one-dimensional with the run game. After that, you make Tannehill throw the ball. It's just, I don't know. That 3-pick game against the Saints, Tannehill's not going to beat you.
No.
And I'll be honest, I thought that the Bengals were really going to struggle with the Rams and end up losing that game. I was surprised that they were able to beat the Rams, who have looked very tough the start of this year. Joe Burrow made it out there, played well. He got Jamar Chase going finally. So I got the Bengals in this one. They told everybody to relax, start 0-2. I feel like they might go on a little bit of a run here, stack a couple wins.
They squeaked away from the Rams 19-16. Okay, that's not convincing to me. That was also at home. They're going on the road. That calf is not right. That calf's not right. And to just speak on the craziness of the AFC South currently, our odds according to FanDuel for the division, we got the Jags still leading the way at plus 135. We got the Colts and the Titans both at plus 250 and Houston at plus 850. So that tells me 3 teams are fighting for that division and it's open.
I have to agree with you there. It's wide open.
Moving along, staying in the Sunday games, we got my pick for the juiciest game of the week here. Oh, boys, this is juicy. This is also a divisional matchup in the AFC East. We got the 3-0 undefeated Miami Dolphins just hung 70 on the Denver Broncos going on the road. Take on the 2-1 Buffalo Bills. Sam, this has an over-under of 54 points. My juiciest game of the week. I'll start us off here. I say The Bills can't keep up with that offense from Miami. Miami keeps it rolling, baby. We'll see about the defense, but right now, if you score 70 freaking points in a game, I'm gonna pick you the next week. I don't care who you're playing.
Similar thought process over here, Matt. For me, it's the Dolphins until the rest of the league proves that somebody can stop them. Um, we have seen the Dolphins go up against a team with a good defense in the New England Patriots, and they made it out of New England just fine with a W. So the Bills have certainly gotten right after that shaky week one start. Josh Allen has looked very good. The Bills defense is very tough, playing really well. I think they'll be able to slow down the Dolphins offense, but they're not going to be able to stop them. Give me the Dolphins in a very exciting game.
That baby's gonna be juicy on CBS. I'm gonna have that one on. A not so juicy game. Two teams that are 0-3. One's gonna be 0-4, we assume. We got the Denver Broncos, fresh off that ass beating they took last week, going to Chicago to take on the Bears. I don't know how the Broncos are favored in this game. On the road, they're favored by 3.5, according to ESPN right now. I cannot take them. I cannot take them to win this game. I'm going Chicago at home. Justin Fields finally wakes up. No way in hell I'm taking the Broncos. On the road, get out of here.
Well, this is another one that will differ. I got the Broncos winning this one. Like we were mentioning earlier, the offense in Denver isn't as bad as what people think. It's just really that putrid defense. For me, the Broncos are a better team, and Russell Wilson is a better quarterback. Justin Fields is hot garbage. I regret so much drafting him in fantasy. He's a
Dude, that's right.
he's an above average to premier running quarterback, terrible passing quarterback, just a bad quarterback overall. I think if the Bears get that number one pick, which it's looking like they're certainly competing, if Caleb Williams is there, bye-bye, Justin. Bye-bye. And I got to go with Sean Payton getting his guys right after just a horrible loss like that. That's another thing. Sean Payton greater than signed Matt Eberflus. He's a defensive-minded coach. You got your starting quarterback saying it's because of the coaching that he's not playing well, making him play robotic. There's controversy. There's people unhappy. A terrible game, but I got the Broncos. The Bears are awful.
Both teams suck. I'm not gonna be watching that one, but I got a Bears in the Bears in a tight one. Moving along, staying in the morning slate. Another divisional game here. Another divisional game in the AFC North. We got the Ravens going on the road to take on the Cleveland Browns. Both teams sitting at 2-1. We got another toss-up here. Sam, tell me how you're feeling.
So coming out of the AFC North, for my playoff picture, I have the Ravens winning it and the Browns as a wild card. I don't know. The way things are looking, that might be flipped. There's a lot of football left to play. You know, the Bengals might get right, go on a roll, like I said. But in this particular game, I got the Browns. Browns have looked tough. Tough loss in Pittsburgh, but I don't know. I watched that Colts game, obviously, and I don't think the Ravens' defense is all it's cracked up to be. And everyone thought that Baltimore was just going to soar under Todd Monken as the offensive coordinator, but they look choppy, clunky. They haven't figured it out. Lamar is Lamar. He's gonna run, score touchdowns, make plays happen. But the Browns defense and Myles Garrett, they're gonna give him fits all day. I got the Browns.
Yeah, I was looking at that Browns defense last week, holding my Tennessee Titans to a freaking field goal. And because of that, I got to take the Browns here too. Recency bias. We've only played 3 weeks, but just last week, Browns looked really good, and the Ravens lost at home to the Colts. And you can already assume, Sam, that I took the Ravens with the points on that. So I was bamboozled. I was shocked. I don't know what's going on in Baltimore. I don't know who's going to play running back because Baltimore running backs get hurt every year. It's gonna be Lamar and Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers, but they're gonna lose this week at Cleveland. All right, Sam, staying in our morning games on Sunday, we got a true pick'em here. The line is even for the 1-2 LA Rams going on the road. Take on your 2-1 Indianapolis Colts. Over under here's 47, solid over under. Sam, you gonna surprise anybody today with your pick?
No surprise here. I'm going with my Indianapolis Colts. What can I say? Shane Steichen's got me believing in blue. Really encouraged and excited from what I've seen thus far. I think they've surprised a lot of people. And say what you want, but that first game, a couple of plays go a little bit differently. We could easily be looking at a 3-0 Colts team coming off of that overtime stunner in Baltimore against the Ravens. Matt Gay breaking NFL record with 4 kicks over 50 yards in the same game. Wow. After that game, there was I was pretty riled up. In our fantasy group chat. Said something about throwing some goddamn respect on the Colts name on the Don't Tell Mama Sports podcast. And you know what? You're not going to do it, and neither is Max. So I'll go ahead and do it. This Colts team is for real. We got a heck of a backup, and that Anthony Richardson kid sure is talented. And yeah, I like the Colts at home. I mean, how could you not be riding high after an overtime victory like that on the road against an undefeated team? So I think the Colts ride that momentum. I think Anthony Richardson and Ryan Kelly, our center, come back from concussion protocol, and it's going to be an exciting game with the Colts W.
You said Ryan Kelly and Anthony Richardson are going to play this week?
I think so. They both went down in the middle of the game against the Texans. They both missed Sunday, so I like both of them to be back by this Sunday, hopefully.
This is a tough game to pick here. Both teams have impressed me. I know the Rams are 1-2, but going on the road week 1, winning in Seattle 30-13, only losing to the 49ers by a touchdown and only losing in Cincinnati by a field goal. Both teams have impressed me. If Anthony Richardson plays, I'm going to go with the Colts. Both teams have impressed me. You know, you remember my bet that I got on the 6.5. I got the under 6.5 win total for the Colts. It's already moved up to 7.5 on FanDuel. Got me nervous right now. Got me nervous. They win this game. Gonna have me more nervous. True toss up. I'm gonna go to the Colts at home if Anthony Richardson plays. If he doesn't play, screw Gardner Minshew. I know he's been solid. I'll go the Rams.
That was something that I meant to mention too, because well, the great thing about the internet and about this audio video podcast is I can go back and rewatch clips and get quotes and then send them back to you. Oh, you said this about the Colts and this about the Colts. So gotta love Don't Tell Mama Sports podcast for that, if anything else.
Colts have started off impressive in these first 3 weeks, but we got a long season to go. Moving along, we got another divisional matchup here in the morning slate on Sunday. This time in the NFC South, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting at 2-1, going to take on the New Orleans Saints, also at 2-1, should probably be undefeated. They squandered that 17-0 lead last week. Do you see them getting it done this time at home?
I like the Bucs in this one. I was really interested to watch that Bucs-Eagles game. I think that went about how everyone expected, but this is you talk about surprising teams with the Rams and the Colts. I think you throw the Bucs in there too, with Baker Mayfield and that really tough defense. Yeah, I don't know. The Saints are banged up. I don't think Derek Carr is going to be playing.
He's not supposed to play. No.
Yeah, and once Derek Carr went down, they weren't doing anything on offense. And yeah, I like the Bucs to get over that loss to the Eagles, get back on track, and take it to their division rivals, the New Orleans Saints.
You know, I really didn't like what I saw from the Eagles on Monday night. Losing 25-11, it was an okay game, but scoring only 11 points. I'm not feeling the Bucs in this one. I think the Saints get it done at home. Let's not forget Alvin Kamara making his season debut this week.
That's true. That's true.
I see a big game from Kamara. He's been holding in all this juice. He's going to release it on Sunday against Tampa Bay.
So what you're saying is Jameis is going to be eating a W?
I think Jameis throws a couple picks and he ends up getting a W. Staying in the morning slate here. We got another divisional game. We got a lot of divisional games this week, Sam.
I like it.
We got the 2-1 Salamanders of Washington, another surprise 2-1 team, going on the road, taking on the undefeated Eagles. I'll make this one quick. Eagles are going to smack them. Sam Howell looked awful last week. I want to say 4 picks. One where just threw it right in front of him to a guy. Salamanders suck. Eagles are going to spank them.
The Buffalo Bills defense said, Sam Howell, that's cute, buddy. I'm glad you had a fun start to being an NFL starting quarterback, but welcome to reality. Eagles also have a tough defense. I think they're going to be tormenting that poor guy all day. I like the Eagles to stay undefeated. Easy victory over the Commanders.
Next game, we got 2 winless teams here. One not really a surprise, one kind of a surprise. Both 0-3. The Vikings going on the road to take on the Panthers. You can call this one a toss-up. I don't know. I don't know if Bryce Young's going to play. Andy Dalton didn't look bad last week. I don't care. Too much firepower for Minnesota. Vikings get this one done on the road.
I'm with you. I will say this is an interesting game where if Andy Dalton, a.k.a. the backup quarterback, plays over the starter, Bryce Young, I could almost see myself picking the Panthers. They look pretty good against Seattle. Andy Dalton's a seasoned vet, been in the league a long time, knows what he's doing. But, yeah, I got the Vikings in this one ultimately. Like you said, too much firepower. Despite being 0-3, they've been humming on offense. If you have Kirk Cousins or Justin Jefferson or TJ Hawkinson in fantasy, they've been putting up good points for you. Definitely interesting. A lot of people last year were quick to make the point that the Vikings, who had a great regular season record, all those games were won like within one score. And so now I think you're seeing the flip side to that, where they could have lost a lot of those games. And now this year they are losing a lot of close games.
Yeah, I believe the Vikings were 13-4 last year, 3 seed with a negative point differential. You just don't see that. So yeah, maybe coming back down to earth. But who you got in this game?
I got the Vikings.
Okay, you're with me on that one.
With you on that one.
Last game in the morning slate on Sunday, we got the 2-1 Pittsburgh Steelers going to Houston to take on the 1-2 Texans. You can call this one also a toss-up here. Houston looked great last week, winning by 20 in Jacksonville. But I think the Steelers are going to get this one done on the road. I don't trust Houston's offensive line to stop that pass rush. Steelers got to win over the Browns this year. I think they've kind of got things together after that just a spanking week 1 by the Niners. I got the Steelers getting this one done on the road.
Yeah, Matt, I like your comment about the Steelers rebounding after that week 1 loss. I've been on this podcast before when we were talking about best head coaches in the league. You got Mike Tomlin over there. That's something that he's just not going to stand for. They're, perennial team that's at least 500. They got some good young talent on offense, always have a solid defense being led by TJ Watt, who's playing out of his mind. It'd be really easy for me if the Steelers were at home, but even on the road, I like the Steelers over the Texans. It was a nice game by the Texans last week, but I think a lot of people aren't talking about how secretly bad the Jaguars might be this year. So, yeah, I got the Steelers as well.
Crazy AFC South right now. Moving into our afternoon games on Sunday, only 3 games again this week. Can we not take 1 or 2 of those morning games, move them into this slate? Like, I'd rather more than 3 games in the afternoon slate. Call me greedy. But first one up here, divisional matchup, AFC West, 1-2 Raiders going to LA to take on the also 1-2 Chargers. This game's got a 48.5 point over-under. Could be a lot of scoring here. I'm going to take the Chargers at home. Keenan Allen has been a freaking beast this year. Raiders suck.
We're in line on this one as well. Didn't even have to look at my sheet. I know I picked the Chargers in this one. Um, I don't know. I just don't think McDaniels is a good head coach. I think the Raiders got a lot to figure out. And the Chargers, they finally got in the win column, but man, they almost beat the Dolphins. They're a good team, high octane offense, and you just brought up my guy, Keenan Allen, who made me look real smart on the last time I was the guest host, calling him a big time player, extra juicy dog, and a my buddy Mr. Tutty, which he came through. So yeah, I like the Chargers to get things done pretty easily at home against the Raiders.
Next game, we have the 1-2 Patriots going to Dallas, take on the 2-1 Cowboys. Cowboys are 7-point home favorite. Give me the boys. Give me Jerry's world. Tony Pollard going to run all over them.
Yeah, I like the Cowboys in this one as well. It's a bounce back, get right game after that loss to the Cardinals. I'm not going to say an embarrassing loss because I think the Cardinals are a lot better than people think. They could easily be 3-0. Their first two games were very close. But yeah, Patriots have a good defense, but they're not a team you like to watch. They're going to win or lose by 2 points, 1 point, 3 points. If defense is your thing, you love it, but yeah, kind of a boring team to watch. And for me, Mac Jones and the offensive weapons he has is not enough to beat the Cowboys.
Speaking of those offensive weapons, are you starting anybody outside of Ramondre Stevenson for the Patriots?
Maybe Hunter Henry if you don't have an elite tight end. I did pick him up off the waivers. He's had a couple of good games, not so great last week, but tight end position in fantasy is tough. So I would say Ramondre and then maybe Hunter Henry. That's about it.
Yeah, Hunter Henry not looking bad here. Tight end 3 on the season so far. Last game in the afternoon slate on Sunday, the 1-2 Arizona Cardinals going on the road, take on the 3-0 San Francisco 49ers. NFC West divisional matchup. This is the highest line we got on the week, Sam. The Niners are favored by 14 points here. You don't see a line like that. No discussion here. Niners at home. Smacking.
I agree with the no discussion. I also have the 49ers beating the Cardinals. I will say, though, a little bit of disrespect, especially after coming off of that win over the Cowboys. 14 points. That's crazy.
28-16 over the Cowboys. That was impressive, but they come back down to earth this week.
Definitely.
Moving into our Sunday night game here on NBC. This was looking juicy going into the season. Okay, I obviously know why the schedule makers made this, but should probably look into flexing the Bills-Dolphins game into Sunday night. But we got the 2-1 Chiefs going on the road to take on the New York Jets. Zach Wilson led New York Jets sitting at 1-2. Sam, we got a lot of gum bumping about Taylor Swift last week making an appearance and Travis Kelce scoring a touchdown. Well, it's probably going to happen again because the Chiefs are going to smack the Jets on Sunday night, NBC primetime. Not going to be a good game.
My apologies to Carrie Underwood because I am not waiting all day for Sunday night. This is going to be a stinker. The Chiefs are going to smack them just like they did the Bears. The Jets have a good defense, so I could see, a low-scoring game in the first quarter, but then defenses eventually wear out when they're constantly on the field, which is going to be the case because an underrated defense this year is, I think, the Kansas City Chiefs, especially with Chris Jones getting a deal done and coming back. I think they're going to torment Zach Wilson. They can't figure it out on offense. That Jets defense is going to wear out after the first quarter, and then the Chiefs will start running up the score.
I think it's time to look elsewhere for a quarterback in New York.
And to your point, Matt, unfortunately, you can't flex games until after week 5, I believe.
Oh.
But Jerry, or not Jerry, Roger, if you're listening,
Roger.
We should change that.
Hey, Jerry might have some pull there too.
Yeah, you never know.
Staying in New York here, going to Monday night. This baby's going to be on ESPN. We got the New York Giants sitting at 1-2. They're going to host the Seattle Seahawks sitting at 2-1. This game is also a true pick'em. According to ESPN, this line is even 47.5 point over under. What are you feeling here on Monday night, Sam?
I can't put my finger on the Seahawks. They look really good at times. Other times they're struggling. I did have to think about this one because the Giants, while they did get handled fairly easily by the 49ers, they weren't demolished. I mean, defensively, the Giants are pretty good, but ultimately I got the Seahawks in this one. Giants got to prove it to me first before I go picking them in a game like this.
Giants, week 1, took a 40-0 blow by the hands of the Cowboys. Week 2, they won by a field goal and a comeback win at Arizona. Last week, got smacked 30-12 by the Niners. No way in hell are they going to beat Seattle. I don't know why this line's even. I don't know if they think Saquon's going to make a return. Saquon ain't playing. Giants are going to get handled in this game, I feel like. I don't know why this line's even. After we get out of here, I'm going to go put some money on it on FanDuel.
I'm with you, and I get your point. But after last week, this NFL is insane. I mean, I am not alive in any survivor leagues that I was in after last week. So I'm with you. I think the Seahawks are going to win. I've picked them, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants somehow won that game.
Juicy games, a lot of toss-ups on the slate. I'm going to be watching. Moving into our last segment this week for the Don't Tell Mama Sports Podcast. Get your bibs on. Put your bibs on because we got the week 4 Extra Juicy Dawgz. This is where we pick a quarterback, running back, receiver, and tight end who's a smash play this week, who maybe a guy lower down in the rankings who has a good matchup that you can feel comfortable putting in your fantasy lineups. Sam, start us off at the quarterback position.
With pleasure, Matt. So my extra juicy dog at the quarterback position going into this week is Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen is quarterback 7 on the season in fantasy. He's at home, and it's against the Commanders. They've had some tough games. I know our buddy Philly Dan was talking about how they're kind of figuring things out on offense with a new offensive coordinator. There's something that's not right. Is there a better opportunity to get right than playing against the Washington Commanders? I don't think so. I see a big game from Jalen. I'm not going to guarantee anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did one of those tush-push QB sneaks into the end zone.
Oh, yeah.
And he's had good fantasy output so far this season, even with some games that they struggled a little bit in. So, yeah, my extra juicy dog at the quarterback position, Jalen Hurts. What about you, Matt?
I like that pick there, Sam. Jalen Hurts on the season, 3 passing touchdowns and 3 picks. So I can see a breakout game for him here. But my extra juicy dog at the quarterback position for week 4 is a guy we talked about earlier. We called him a queef. He's been a bust so far. He's in your lineup, Sam. It's Chicago Bear quarterback Justin Fields. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. But listen up. He's the quarterback 21 on the season. Big disappointment. I had him, I think, number 5 going into the year. But the Chicago Bears this week, they host the Denver Broncos, who just gave up 70 points last week to Miami. Denver's defense is ranked second to last against quarterbacks in fantasy through 3 weeks. I think Justin Fields runs all over him. Put him in your lineup. Don't be nervous about him this week. But I tell you right now, 4 weeks into the season, if he queefs again on you, it's time to go find somewhere else. No one's going to trade for him. I don't know if you can drop him. That's tough, but definitely you can't start him.
Interesting. I don't know that I can start him this week. I had a better game from my backup this past week, but if he's your extra juicy dog, I might have to reconsider.
Well, who are you picking between?
It's between him and Geno Smith.
Okay, Geno Smith on Monday night at New York. Yeah, that's definitely a debate. Who is your extra juicy dog at the running back position, Samson?
Matt, I'm very excited about this one. I was going over it, trying to pick. There's a lot of good choices, a couple of good honorable mentions, Kenneth Walker, Bijan Robinson, but ultimately I went against my better judgment and decided to be a little bit of a homer on this one. I got my Indianapolis Colts running back Zach Moss, baby.
Oh, a lot of touches.
Yep. So a couple of my picks are a little bit chalky with guys you would expect to do well, but I had to throw in a couple of more like dark horse picks. So I did just that with my extra juicy dog at the running back position. Yeah, I got Zach Moss. Look, he's running back 12 in fantasy, and he missed week 1. So that's 2 games. So while everybody else has 3 games, in 2 games, he's running back 12.
Wow.
He has 2 touchdowns, a receiving and a rushing, and he has 2 touchdowns in the 2 games that he's played. And the receiving touchdown that he had against the Ravens was a beauty. It was a great pass by Minshew, but man, it looks so good. He's and volume is king. Volume is king in fantasy, and he in his 2 games that he's played, 18 touches and 30. Plus, he's getting work in the passing game, and the Colts are liking what they see. And if you're Zach Moss, who knows what's going to happen after this next week when JT comes back? You're definitely trying to put on to either make the Colts have a hard decision to make, or just putting good film out there for, I don't know, maybe another team if things work out with JT. So, also, if I may, Matt, I got my first guarantee of this segment. My buddy, Mr. Tutty, Zachary Moss.
Wow.
3 weeks, 3 touchdowns. He's definitely scoring at home against the Rams all day.
Wow. Big pick there, Sam. Zach Moss, a guy that wasn't drafted in leagues. People scooped him up. And as a Jonathan Taylor owner, I slept. My extra juicy running back for week 4. It's going to be Dallas Cowboy Tony Pollard. Okay, he's running back 4 on the season. They're sitting right now 7-point home favorites against New England. The Pats are ranked 20th against running backs, so that middle, bottom third, whatever. Tony Pollard surprisingly hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1. And damn it, he's due for one right now. My buddy, Mr. Tutty, Tony Pollard, is going to score one against the Pats this week. 7-point home favorite. I like it.
I like it. I like the pick.
Who is your extra juicy dog at the receiver position?
This particular dog is extra juicy, and he is on my fantasy team. I got Stefon Diggs of the Buffalo Bills as my extra juicy dog at the wide receiver position.
Juicy.
They're taking on the Miami Dolphins, who are 17th in fantasy against running backs. If we could rewind back to week 1, like I mentioned in talking about the Chargers, they almost came away with a win in that game. Chargers put up a lot of points. Dolphins defense is middle of the pack, subpar. You can score against them. The issue is that their offense is so good, it's just hard to come back. One of 2 things are going to happen. The Bills are going to shock us, and their defense is going to really stymie this Dolphins offense, and it's going to be a close, exciting game, or the Dolphins are going to be up, and the Bills are going to be playing catch-up, throwing the ball. And Josh Allen has established another good connection with Stefon Diggs this year. Diggs has 13, 7, and 12 targets in his first 3 games. Now, that hasn't correlated with touchdowns. He's only got 1. But my second guarantee, my buddy Mr. Tutty, Stefon Diggs is going to catch a touchdown pass from Josh Allen against the Dolphins.
He's getting a little greedy this week, Sam. Back-to-back guarantees here. I like it, though. I like it. Good keeper pick by you, Stefon Diggs. Seems like a franchise keeper, if you ask me.
He's a dog, an extra juicy dog.
Oh, my extra juicy dog at the receiver position going to be Las Vegas Raider Davante Adams. Wide receiver 4 on the year. They're going to be at the Chargers. They're going to be an underdog. Jimmy G's going to have to be chucking it. I don't know if I trust that, but whatever. They got a 48.5 point over-under, though. That's good for second on the week. There's going to be some points scored in this. The Chargers are ranked dead last, 32nd against opposing receivers. Okay, this is why I went to this matchup. Davante Adams is coming off a 2-touchdown, 20-target game. I must have fallen asleep on Sunday night because I didn't remember that. But damn it, Sam, call me greedy, but I'm right there with you. My buddy, Mr. Tutty for Davante Adams. Call me greedy, but I'm guaranteeing a touchdown. for Devontae Adams against the Chargers in a possible shootout. And Sam, right now we want to take a second to get an update from our guy Max.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Let's hear it, Maxie.
Hey everybody, this is Max. I hope everyone is enjoying the show today with Breezy and whoever he has on as well. It's been a trip. I miss you all. I miss being on the show, and it's been a long way coming with 3 weeks not being on the show. With my wife and I moving to beautiful Tennessee, as you see here in the background. Look at all this green. Look at all that green. Everything's green here. It's amazing. Mountains, rivers. It's so beautiful. But I promise I will be there next week, but I wanted to go ahead and state my buddy Mr. Tutty this week, okay? I've been missing it, and I'll tell you right now, I am guaranteeing that CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys gets into the end zone. If you have CeeDee Lamb on your fantasy football team, I understand that right now it might be a little frustrating that he hasn't gotten in the end zone, considering all the work he's getting. This week, I'm guaranteeing it. Let's go CeeDee Lamb with my buddy Mr. Tutty.
So yeah, thanks for checking in with us there, Max. Good to hear from you, brother. Sam, what do you think about that my buddy Mr. Tutty guarantee for CeeDee Lamb this week?
Well, first and foremost, it looks like Max made a great decision. Tennessee looks beautiful. I like that shot with all the green in the background.
A lot of green.
I have no problem with this take. I think the volume is there. Like we said, volume is king in fantasy football, and it hasn't correlated with touchdowns. But I really like the call. CeeDee Lamb getting in the end zone with a touchdown this week. It's a good call, Max.
Max and I both have Cowboys scoring this week, so we both see maybe a possible pounding in Dallas of the Patriots. Sam, finish us up here with our extra juicy dog at the tight end position.
I got my last extra juicy dog, but apparently we got a couple of greedy dogs in this segment, back-to-back guarantees.
Both of us. It hasn't been working out for me to guarantee both, but I'm still going to be greedy here in week 4.
Well, my extra juicy dog at the tight end position, very excited about this one. Sam Laporta of the Detroit Lions, rookie tight end. I think we all forget why TJ Hawkinson got that big contract in Minnesota. It's largely due to the work that he did in Detroit. Detroit knows how to treat their tight end well. Volume, targets. That Laporta kid has hardly come off the field. And I think this past week, fantasy-wise, it finally correlated with a touchdown. But in each game, his targets have gone up 5, 6, 11. His fantasy points have gone up corresponding to that. His average depth of target is over 10 yards. So he's getting the ball thrown to him down the field. He's had a catch for 45 yards, so they're looking to him deep. And he's got a 23% target share. So I'm not going to guarantee a touchdown just because I don't want to have the recency error since he just scored one in this last game. But there's a lot of things to like: volume, targets, time on the field. And let's not forget, he came from one of the tight end universities.
One of the two, yeah. Iowa, throw in Notre Dame also. I had to look up because I assumed that he was picked up in our league, but he was actually drafted by Nick Smith with the 3rd to last pick in this year's draft. So good on Nick for that pick. Good value there, 16th round.
If you snagged him off the waivers or drafted him and have been patient, good for you. I checked in all my leagues, and he was a late round sleeper pick, I think, in a lot of drafts. So good for you if you did.
Tight end 2 on the season. Impressive. But my extra juicy dog at the tight end position for week 4 is going to be Jacksonville Jaguar Evan Ingram in their home away from home in London, taking on the Falcons. Evan Ingram, he's tight end 4 this year. He's been very consistent through these first 3 weeks if you look at the numbers. Atlanta, the Falcons, they're 4th to last against tight ends, the defense. Evan Ingram hasn't scored a touchdown yet, so he's due for one. I can't guarantee it.
Oh, I thought we were getting extra greedy.
I can't get a triple tutty guarantee here, but Evan Ingram, there's a lot of weapons there in Jacksonville. I got to think they're going to get Calvin Ridley back involved also. But Evan Ingram, the tight end 4 in the season, taking on the 29th ranked defense against tight ends for the Falcons. I'll put Evan Ingram in this segment. That'll do us this week here, Sam, for the Don't Tell Mama Sports Podcast. Heck of a pod this week. A lot of NFL talk. We got some college football talk with some live action from South Bend and game day. Sam, what you got for us and the people before you get out of here, man?
Look, Matt, we're in the thick of it. College football's rolling. NFL, we're kind of at that 4-game point. So there's really no more excuses for, preseason rust. Teams are figuring out who they are. So it's been crazy. It's been wild. It's been really fun just as a fan watching the games, but also as a fantasy player. So, it's really exciting. I can't wait to watch the games this weekend. I got Sunday off after celebrating turning 30 this upcoming Saturday. So, it's really all I got. I just want to thank you again for thinking of me to come on and guest host while Max is getting moved out to Tennessee. And as Max would say, don't tell your mama. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe.